إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We praise Him, we seek help from Him, we seek guidance from Him, and we ask for His forgiveness, and we seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from ourselves and from our evil acts. Whomsoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides is the guided one, and whoever is misguided will not be found and will not find guidance. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له هو الأول فلا شيء قبله وهو الآخر فلا شيء بعده هو الأول والآخر والظاهر والباطن وهو بكل شيء عليم يعلم ما يرج من الأرض وما يخرج منها وما ينزل من السماء وما يعرج فيها وهو معكم أينما كنتم والله بما تعملون بصير هو الرحمن الرحيم الملك القدوس السلام له الأسماء الحسنى. I bear witness that there is no deity in existence except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the first, there's nothing before Him. He is the last, there's nothing after Him. He is the first and the last and the manifest one and the hidden one. And He has knowledge of everything. He knows what penetrates the earth and what comes out from it, and what descends from the heavens and what ascends to it. And He is with you wherever you are, and Allah knows what you see. He is the most gracious, the most merciful, the King, the Holy, the peace and the source of peace. To Him belong the best names. وأشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا وقائدنا وقدوتنا وحبيبنا محمدا ابن عبد الله عبده ورسوله وصفيه من دون الخلق ونبيه بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وتركها على المحجة البيضاء ليلها كنهارها لا يزيغ عنها إلا هالك. I witness that our master, our prophet, our guide, our model, and our beloved is Muhammad, son of Abdullah, as His servant and messenger. He delivered the message and fulfilled His trust and advised His ummah, and He left it as a bright white light. Its night is like its day. All those who deviate from it will be perished. فصلوات ربي وتسليماته عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه الذين كانوا بحق رسل رحمة وأئمة هدي وقضاة عدل ومصابيح ظلام نصروا دين الله فنصرهم الله نصروا دين الله فنصرهم الله وأعزوا دين الله فأعزهم الله أولئك هم أولياء الله ألا إن أولياء الله لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. The praise and peace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is on Him, His family and His companions, those who were truly the messengers of mercy and guided leaders and judges of justice and light for darkness. They supported Allah's religion, so Allah supported them, and they gave victory to Allah's religion, so Allah gave victory to them. Truly they are the allies of Allah. The allies of Allah have no fear, nor shall they grieve. يقول الله عز وجل في كتابه الكريم بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, O you who believe, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu, he said, whenever we used to hear Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, in our minds we would replace that phrase with our own name to identify that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is directly addressing us. We need to understand that Islam, the instructions, the commandments of Islam, they apply to us and not to the person sitting next to us. It applies to us. There is no exception to this. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, seek refuge, fear, love, be mindful, be conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the meaning of the word taqwa. Here's the best estimation. And do not die except that you are in the status of submitting your will to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إنما بعثت لأتمم مكارم الأخلاق. I was sent, the Prophet ﷺ, he described the mission statement in one simple sentence. He said, I was sent only to perfect and complete good manners. ويقول الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين. And we have sent you, Muhammad, not but as a mercy to all the worlds. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us ambassadors of the mercy to all the worlds. My brothers and sisters, alhamdulillah that we lived to experience and take advantage of yet another Ramadan. And we inshallah, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He accept from us our fasting, our qiyam, and all of our good deeds that we have done in Ramadan. And inshallah that He forgive us of all of our sins and our shortcomings from priors. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about fasting in Ramadan in the Quran, He mentioned four things. He mentioned the instruction of it. He said, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. He mentioned the instruction and He mentioned taqwa. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues in these verses and He mentioned the specifics of the length of the fast and how to make up those days. And He concluded the verse by speaking about knowledge. إِن كُنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues to describe the significance of Ramadan, that Ramadan is the month in which the Quran was revealed. And He concluded that verse by telling us to be thankful. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. So that you may be thankful. And then He said in the verse, after talking about the verses of Ramadan, He says, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ. And when my servants ask you, Muhammad, concerning me, indeed I am near. Subhanallah, this verse, every time I hear it, it shakes me to my core. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not some figure in an obscure distance. He is so close that when He constructed the Messenger ﷺ, that when they ask you, when the people ask you, where is Allah? Or they ask you about Allah, don't say that I said I am near. He went straight to the answer. إِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ. I am so close. I am close and I respond to the invocation of the supplicant when he calls upon me. And He continues, فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لِي وَلْيُؤْمِنُوا بِي لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْشُدُونَ. And so let them respond to me by obedience and believe in me that they may be rightly guided. And so when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about His closeness, how close He is, He concludes the verse by saying, لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْشُدُونَ. So that they may be rightly guided. So first Allah mentioned taqwa. Then He mentioned knowledge. And then He mentioned being thankful. And then He mentioned righteous guidance. Rashada. Al-Irshad. This is the topic of my khutbah today, brothers and sisters, is this concept of Rashada or Rashad. And what does it mean to be rightly guided? The scholars have commented about this. They said, Rashad al-Rajul, that the man became right. Or Asab al-Rajul, he hit his aim. He went out, he hit what he was after. Or Ihdad al-Rajul, that he was guided. Or Istiqam al-Rajul, he stayed the course. Or Arafa tariq al-Rashad, he knew the right way. My brothers and sisters, people need two things. They need guidance, al-hidayah, and they need correct understanding. And Rashad is the correct understanding with wisdom and sound judgment. You need both. You can't have one without the other. In fact, hidayah, we know that hidayah to Islam comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But people can be guided to so many other different things. It is not just guidance to Islam. It is guidance to anything. Guidance to anything comes from anywhere and everything. And we know this because there are so many ideas out there, and philosophies, and ways of thinking, and paths that people take. But none of them are right, except for the path that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dictated. And guidance is not from man, it is from the divine. And by default, man has fitrah. The human being has fitrah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us on the fitrah. But he is in loss. As we know, Surah Al-Asr, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we all know this surah. وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears by time itself that indeed that human beings are at a loss. They are doomed. We are doomed for hellfire. 99.9% of the human race is going to enter hellfire. So our chances are not good by default. How does the surah continue? You can talk to me, by the way. I know this is a khutbah, but you can talk to me. It's okay. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. You need all four. And when you have all four, then you have Jannah inshaAllah, with the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The correct understanding and the fahm, the understanding, the rashad, the wisdom, and the balance and the moderation of understanding how Islam applies to your place and to your time. There's a story very fascinating of Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman. If you know of him, he was the man whom the Rasul ﷺ kept the secrets with. He was the Prophet's confidant. He had the list of the hypocrites. That's how confident he was. He knew some of the things that even the closest Sahaba did not know about. And you have people like Umar radiallahu anh running after him and saying, Hudayfa, am I on that list? And he says, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, don't worry, you are not on that list. So there's an interesting conversation that happened between Hudayfa and Umar radiallahu anh when he was the Khalifa. So Hudayfa asked Umar, he said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, أكنتم تعبدون هذه الأصنام أكنتم تفعلون هذا أما كان عندكم عقل? That when you used to go worship these idols, didn't you have minds to think with? Because see, for the Sahaba and for the Tabi'een, we need to understand that Islam is the opposite of al-dhulumat and jahiliyyah. Jahiliyyah means the ignorance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Islam means the enlightenment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it means knowledge. And it means having a mind to think with, that your mind, when you have the teachings and the hidayah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it will dictate you naturally to the right course, to the straight way. So you see, he asked Umar radiallahu anh, how did you used to worship these idols? How? So Umar, he said, يا بني كان عندنا عقل ولكن لم تكن عندنا هداية. He said, my son, we used to have our minds. We had intellect, but we did not have guidance. We did not have it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He talks about Rashada or Rashad, He mentioned so many different examples in the Quran. He mentioned Ibrahim alayhi salam, وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا إِبْرَاهِيمَ رُشْدَهُ مِنْ قَبْلُ وَكُنَّا بِهِ عَالِمِينَ. That we certainly gave Ibrahim his sound judgment before. The sound judgment, this Rashad. And we were of him well knowing. Rashada is mentioned twice in Surah Al-Kahf, which inshallah we read today. This is a Friday. As the recommendation of the Prophet ﷺ to recite Surah Al-Kahf every Friday to be forgiven of the week's sins and shortcomings. It is mentioned twice. And the first instance is mentioned with the young people who went to the cave. He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, إِذْ أَوَى الْفِتْيَةُ إِلَى الْكَهْفِ فَقَالُوا رَبَّنَا آتِنَا مِنْ لَدُنْكَ رَحْمَةً وَهَيِّئْ لَنَا مِنْ أَمْرِنَا رَشَدًا. They said, when the youth retreated to the cave and said, our Lord, grant us from yourself mercy and prepare for us from our fare, what? Rashada, righteous guidance. And Musa alayhi salam, this is the other example that was given in Surah Al-Kahf. Musa alayhi salam, he is the Nabi, he is Rasulullah. He is getting, not just divine guidance, he is getting wahi. And this is the top tier, right? But even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling His Nabi, His Rasul, to go seek out this man, a slave from among our slaves, as is mentioned in the Quran. This man who's called Al-Khidr. And Musa alayhi salam goes to him seeking that Rashada. To seek the Rashada. He tells him, he said, قال له موسى هل أتبعك على أن تعلمني ممن علمت رشدا. That, oh, may I follow you on the condition that you teach me from what you have been taught of sound judgment. And we know from the Quran the amazing stories. We only have 3 stories from Al-Khidr. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, oh, may Allah have mercy on my brother Musa, that had he been more patient with Khidr, what wondrous treasures we would have learned from him. Because of these things that they don't seem logical. But when you have that Rashada, it makes sense. And Rashada is mentioned 3 times in Surah Al-Jinn. And people use their mind. We see that especially today, in this age of information and intellectualism and the age of myself and me, myself and I, people use their own logic. People think that they can find their own way using their mind. In fact, you have many parents. It is a common trend now that many parents, they may abide to a religion, but they will not raise their children on their own belief because, and they say that we will let them decide. We will let them decide. And unfortunately, this is within our own community as well. That we think that Hidayah is going to just come to our children and to ourselves. But this is never the case. That guidance comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It does not come from the human intellect and his own philosophies. What is acceptable and what is not acceptable. In today's climate, something as controversial as homosexuality is accepted in our society. But it is against the moral teachings of the Abrahamic faiths. And Lut alayhi salam, he said in Surah Hud verse 78, he said, is there not amongst you a man of reason? وَجَاءَهُ قَوْمُهُ يُهْرَعُونَ إِلَيْهِ وَمِنْ قَبْلُ كَانَ يَعْمَلُونَ السَّيِّئَاتِ. And his people came hastening to them, and before this they had been doing evil deeds. قَالَ يَا قَوْمِ هَؤُلَاءِ بَنَاتِي هُنَّ أَطْهَرُ لَكُمْ. They said, oh my people, these are my daughters. They are pure for you. فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُخْزُونَ فِي ضَيْفِي. So fear Allah and do not disgrace me concerning my guests. The Lut alayhi salam, he had 3 guests. He did not know they were angels yet, but they were angels. And they came in the form of beautiful looking men. And so the people, they saw them and they wanted to come and pounce on them. And so Lut alayhi salam is trying to stop them. And what does he tell them? He said, أَلَيْسَ مِنْكُمْ رَجُلٌ رَشِيدٌ. Is there not amongst you a man who has reason? Is there not a person amongst you, a man of reason? What is missing? This quality of Rashada. This quality of Rashad. How can we acquire this quality of Rashada? How do we do it? We follow the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We follow the way of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And we follow the way of the rightly guided khulafa. As the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said in his last days, and the Sahaba did not know it was his last days, but they had a feeling. You know, so the Sahaba that narrated this following hadith, he told the Prophet, the Prophet ﷺ started giving some advice after Salah. And the Sahaba told him, oh Ya Rasulullah, it is as if this advice that you are giving sounds like the advice of a man who is about to leave us. So the Rasul ﷺ, he said, أُوصِيكُمْ بِتَقْوَى اللَّهِ. I give you the advice. Actually, the wasiyah is I leave you with, it's like what you say when you're talking about inheritance. I leave you, or I inherit for you taqwa Allah, taqwa in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَالسَّمْعَ وَالطَّاعَةِ. And to listen and to obey. I had a conversation just a few weeks ago with some men after I gave a khutbah or khatira during Ramadan. And they were adamant about understanding the reason and the wisdom of any given commandment given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam before they applied it. And I'm talking to them, I'm like, do you need to understand the wisdom behind zakah? Do you understand the wisdom behind Sawm or Hajj before you go do it? If you look at the rituals of Hajj, it doesn't make sense. Why would you circle the Kaaba 7 times? Why would you run between Safa and Marwa 7 times? Why would you stone? So it doesn't make sense in and of itself, right? It doesn't make sense. So I told them what I told them is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, إِذْ قَالَ رَبُّهُ أَسْلِمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Ibrahim, Aslim, submit your will to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قَالَ أَسْلَمْتُ لِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. His reply was, I submit to the Lord of the worlds. And this is the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We listen and we obey. And if we understand, we're encouraged to understand. We are encouraged to ask questions. But if we don't understand, that should not by any means stop us from surrendering our will to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and doing that which we don't understand. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows and He understands. And He knows what is good for us. This is what is given for our ummah. As-sam'a wa ta'a. We listen and we obey. And the Prophet ﷺ, he continued, he said, فَعَلَيْكُمْ بِسُنَّتِي. So I advise you to follow my sunnah. وَسُنَّةُ الْخُلَفَاءِ الرَّاشِدِينَ الْمَهْدِيِّينَ عَضُّوا عَلَيْهَا بِالنَّوَاجِذِ. He said, follow my sunnah and the ways of those who succeed me. They are rightly guided. And he said, وَإِيَّاكُمْ وَمُحْدَثَاتُ الْأُمُورِ فَإِن كُلَّ بِدْعَةٍ ضَلَالَةٍ. He said, and I warn you against deviance and going astray. Where does this deviance and going astray come from? It is when we use our own whims and desires in place of the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And going astray, and as every religious innovation is a deviance. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله ولكم فاستغفروه فيتوب المستغفرين. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. My brothers and sisters, we just finished the blessed month of Ramadan. And after Ramadan we need to move forward. They say it takes 21 days for us to adapt any given habit or for any practice to become a habit. 21 days. So if you want to, for example, let's say you're a grown adult and you don't brush your teeth. Bad example, but I hope you all do. Okay? If you don't brush your teeth, it takes 21 days. You just be adamant about it. 21 days and you should have that habit down. You'll wake up and that's it. Your mind's like, I need to brush my teeth. That's it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us not 21 days but a full month. 30 days. A rehab for your soul. So that you are in the condition where you identify your weaknesses, your shortcomings, your sins, and you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His help to remove this from your habits and replace those bad habits with good ones. So we did 30 days of fasting. Are we gonna continue some of that fast? Follow the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ and fast Mondays and Thursdays and the 13th, 14th, and 15th of the month? Or we made it a point to recite the whole or to read the Quran in Ramadan. We can do this outside of Ramadan too. One juz'ah every day. And if you don't have the time to do it in one sitting, with every salah, if you just read 4 pages, make it easier. 2 pages before salah, pray, 2 pages after salah, and you have your juz'ah for the day. It's practical. We gave sadaqat and our zakah in Ramadan. We need to continue this habit continuously. I'm going to go ahead and plug this in. I am recently moved here from Texas. I live here in Riverside now, and I work for United Muslim Relief. If you have any sadaqat, give to the masjid, give to United Muslim Relief, inshallah. And this is something that we always, as Muslims, this is part of our teaching that we need to cleanse our money and cleanse our hearts of any ill feeling towards people who need our help. This is how we do it. Put it into practice. Feed a hungry person. help your brother in need of a favor. We say a good word to our spouse, to our children, to our family, to our friends. We restrain from saying a bad word. In Ramadan we should say, Allahumma inni sa'im. But what about when you're not fasting, when you're angry? To say to yourself, Ya Allah, you know I'm being patient, just accept this from me. Right? This is the restraint that we learn in Ramadan. Finally, I conclude in the next few minutes talking about Rashada and Rashad. We're living in the information age where everything is out in the open. And the enemies of Islam have their propaganda machine working against Islam, so much so that people, including Muslims, they make up their mind about Islam and Allah and the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and the Muslims without ever reading the Quran, without ever educating themselves on Islam from the correct sources, without ever interacting with our community. And this is incredibly dangerous. Firstly and mostly for the Muslims themselves. The Muslims who distance themselves from the community. They read the wrong information online, then they go into chat rooms, and the next thing you know, they bought a ticket to join a demented, deviant group, or they commit a crime against humanity. Or in the case where they leave the community altogether, or worse, that they leave Islam altogether, they renounce their Islam. And I have met people who have done this. Why? All because they had incorrect and misguided understanding of the deen. Islam is perfect. Muslims are not. But the wrong actions of Muslims and those who claim to be Muslims are attributed to Islam, and this makes people hesitant to claim their Muslim identity. People nowadays are saying religion is the problem today. All religions, doesn't matter. People have done so much violence in the name of religion, therefore religion itself is evil. Some other people are saying, why is there extremism? Other people, especially in our own community, the Muslim community is asking, why do groups like ISIS and the Khawarij throughout history, why do they exist? Why did this Muhammad guy drive his truck into crowds yesterday in France and kill 84 people in cold blood? People are saying Islam is the problem. When in fact studies have shown that religiosity and coming to the masjid and the community deter a person away from extremism. What brings a person to extremism? It is the incorrect understanding of Islam. It is isolation. It is internet trolling. And this is what leads to extremism. These lost sheep that get picked off by the wolves. And people are not applying the deen. They are acting on their desires. And people now are talking about this man called Muhammad who did this horrendous act yesterday. I'd like to remind you all that 7 weeks ago, just 7 weeks ago, subhanAllah, humanity has such a short-term memory. 7 weeks ago, the world, not just the Muslim Ummah, but the world mourned the loss of a man named Muhammad Ali. This was the example of what a Muslim looked like. And now people are geared back into the narrative of what mainstream media wants to say about Muslims in Islam. I'm not going to comment any more than what Imam Umar Sulaiman he posted, and I'm going to conclude with this. Depressed, loner, creepy, used to chase girls, nightclub hopper, recently divorced, didn't pray, didn't attend a mosque, previously charged with domestic violence and robbery. But it must be Islamic terror, and we have to call it out, guys. Why? Because the guy was of a Muslim background. So let's go ahead and blame Islam. Let's not be politically correct. Let the bigots like Gingrich and Trump shout like Nazis about how we need to ban Islam and Muslims. We need IDs and religious tests. Forget that the videos showed Muslim victims as well, and that this guy clearly had nothing to do with his supposed faith or a mosque. This is not juicy enough. It doesn't fit their narrative. They want more hatred and blood. Dare I say it, they are apparently far more driven by ideology than this attacker and so many more. I hereby blame them for every mass murderer that shares their ethnicity and faith, because they continue to radicalize bigots from the pulpit of Fox News. Newt Gingrich, I'll make your job easier for you. I believe in every single tenet of my faith. Because of that, I speak against extremists overseas and extremists like you and the fraud running for president. You can try to deport me now. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to constantly guide us to the straight way and guide others through us, and learn Islam with the correct understanding and wisdom and proper application. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among those who listen to this speech and benefit from it. Allahumma ja'alna mimman yastami'una al-qawla fayattabi'una ahsana. Allahumma ij'al tajammu'a hadha tajammu'an marhuma wa tafarruqana min ba'dihi tafarruqan ma'suma wa la taj'al fina shaqiyyan wa la mahruma. Rabbana ighfir lana wa li ikhwanina alladhina sabaquna bil iman. ربنا ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. ربنا اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. ربنا وآتنا ما وعدتنا على رسلك ولا تخزنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. اللهم حبب إلينا الإيمان وزينه في قلوبنا وكره إلينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان واجعلنا اللهم من الراشدين. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات. اللهم أشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين أجمعين وارحم موتانا وموتى المسلمين أجمعين. اللهم من أراد بالإسلام والمسلمين خيرا فوفقه إلى كل خير، ومن أراد بالإسلام والمسلمين شرا فخذه أخذ العزيز المقتدر إنك ولي ذلك والقادر عليه. اللهم انصر إخواننا في الشام وفي فلسطين وفي العراق وفي مصر وفي بورما وفي الصومال وفي بلاد الهند وفي كل مكان ينادون باسمك ويجاهدون لله حق جهاد في سبيلك. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا. ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إسرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا. ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. Brothers and sisters, I'd like to make a quick dua especially for my mentor and friend Dr. Amjad Qursha, who is being jailed by the Jordanian authorities. Please make dua for his immediate release, inshallah. عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروا الله يذكركم ولذكر الله والله أكبر والله يعلم ما تسمعون وأقيموا الصلاة.